Goodyear signs an extension with NASCAR, one Cup Series team is switching from Ford to Chevrolet, and with the awards show happening tonight in Nashville, Tennessee, top NASCAR Cup Series drivers get to answer tough questions for the first time in several weeks. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Catching up on a lot of breaking news today. I hope your week is going well. Chances are it's going better than whoever's race car this is sitting at the bottom of a hotel pool. Yeah, the Snowball Derby is happening this week in Pensacola. We've talked about all the big NASCAR names competing in that race this year. Reporter Matt Weaver doing a great job there on the ground for Racing America. Last night he tweeted, okay, whose Snowball Derby race car ended up in a hotel pool in Tillman's Corner, Alabama? We need to know more. Leave it to Matt Weaver to get the scoop. He then tweeted, the story is that whoever this is, their straps broke on the trailer in the Winn-Dixie parking lot and the car went zoom zoom backwards into the pool. Apparently that car is raced by Cameron Latham, so yeah, I mean, at least it makes for a hell of a story. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about real, primarily NASCAR-focused news. First story of the day, Goodyear signed an extension to continue being the exclusive official tire of NASCAR. They will also once again be the title sponsor for the spring Darlington Cup race, the Goodyear 400. I should have worn my Goodyear 400 hat today. Yeah, I completely forgot I had this. The navy kind of clashes with the black, but whatever. I know most of you guys aren't Astros fans. There's not much else to say. I'm not surprised. This is a multi-year deal. I think typically Goodyear signs these deals in 5-year increments. I know Goodyear gets a lot of flack from fans, and sometimes drivers, and sometimes teams, but they are one of NASCAR's most important partners. They're one of NASCAR's longest running exclusive partners. They have been the tire of NASCAR, I think, since the late 90s, right? And they've been in NASCAR much, much longer than that. So they have a deep history together. Both sides need each other to ultimately create a successful on-track product. So yeah, Goodyear's back, no shock. Next story, Live Fast Motorsports announced this morning that they will no longer run Fords. Instead, they are joining Team Chevy in the NASCAR Cup Series. They'll be getting engine support from ECR engines. This is no small change. Sure, Live Fast has not been remotely competitive the past 2 years, but they are a charter team, so it is worth discussing. And that ECR alliance, the getting that support from ECR, could mean good things are on the horizon for this team. I know when I first talked to Matt Tifft about 2 years ago when they first announced this venture, Matt Tifft, BJ McLeod, he said that their goal, long-term goal, was to be competitive. They don't want to just ride around and sit on that charter. They do want to be good one day. They're slowly trying to build themselves towards that goal. Joining Chevy, joining ECR, that is a step towards that goal, I believe. The charter system does put some pressure on the teams to perform. I think, if you finish in the bottom 3 in owners' points 3 years in a row, NASCAR has the right to repossess your charter. That doesn't mean they necessarily will, but they have that option. Something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Live Fast Motorsports is somewhere near that edge. So that could have played a role in this decision. This is also the second team in just the last few days to kind of sever their alliance with Stewart-Haas Racing. I don't know how closely connected these two teams were to each other. I know Live Fast, I believe, leased an SHR pit crew this whole last season. But now that they're a Chevy team, I assume that relationship is all but done with. Remember, Rick Ware Racing just a few days ago announced they now had an alliance with Roush and were moving on to the RFK campus. So their relationship with SHR is kaput, and now Live Fast's relationship with SHR, whatever it may have been, also seems to be history. So, I don't know, maybe there's something to that, just worth mentioning. Lastly, it is awards night in Nashville, Tennessee. The Cup Series, Truck Series, and Xfinity Series champions are all present, all being honored, as well as this past season's 16 Cup Series playoff drivers. They're all there, they're all in attendance, they've all been speaking to media today, and there are a couple interesting quotes from a couple interesting drivers that I think are worth discussing. I'm gonna push some of Kevin Harvick's comments into a separate video tomorrow, but I wanna talk about Denny Hamlin. First, before I get to Hamlin, I think it's worth mentioning Ty Gibbs, the Xfinity Series champion, did speak to the media today and is at the awards ceremony. This is his first public appearance since his championship win the Saturday at Phoenix. Also his first public appearance since the tragic and sudden passing of his father that very same night. Ty Gibbs was asked about that subject today, but he very politely declined to talk about it, saying instead he wanted to focus on just racing topics and conversations this week, which in my opinion is completely understandable. Quite frankly, I'm a bit shocked Ty Gibbs is here at all. Ty Gibbs has never seemed the most comfortable in front of the camera, behind a microphone, so the fact that he's even at this event, talking to reporters, considering all the surrounding context, it's commendable. It does show some maturity. It would have been completely understandable if Gibbs wanted to sit this event out. But the fact that he's here, answering as many questions as possible, displays an immense amount of professionalism that I was not certain Ty Gibbs was capable of demonstrating. So kudos to him, and hopefully kudos to all the reporters out there for not prying into obviously a very sensitive and very difficult topic. Let Ty Gibbs come out and talk about it if and when he ever is comfortable doing so. There's one other driver whose comments I want to highlight in today's video. Of course, that driver is Denny Hamlin, who's consistently been one of the most outspoken personalities in the garage the past couple of seasons. There are a couple of questions he was asked that I want to talk about, but the first one relates to yesterday's video about the Race Team Alliance. According to Adam Stern yesterday, the Race Team Alliance is deepening its relationship with Wasserman to have the agency look into the possibility of holding RTA exhibition races, a big development that suggests NASCAR's best teams are exploring organizing their own events in the off-season. That is huge news for a number of reasons we talked about yesterday. Is it solely a negotiating tactic? Do they actually want to race during the off-season? Is it a little bit of both? We talked all about that in yesterday's video, but today, Denny Hamlin was asked his thoughts on the topic. Hamlin, of course, is both a driver and a team owner. 2311 Racing is part of the Race Team Alliance, so he is uniquely qualified to talk about this, and here's what he said. Certainly, the exhibition races, could be pulled off for sure, but it won't affect anything we do here week in and week out. It's just more of an opportunity for us to supplement some income. That's similar to the analogy I made in yesterday's video. The issue at the core of all this is that the teams feel they're not paid enough by NASCAR. They should be getting a larger split of the massive amount of TV revenue. So the teams looking to create their own races is a lot like, if your full-time job, for whatever reason, isn't paying the bills, so you gotta go find a part-time job on the side to help make ends meet. These exhibition races are that potential part-time job, and that seems to be what Denny Hamlin is saying. But the undertones of Hamlin's comments are clear. The teams need more money. Owning a NASCAR Cup Series team is not a profitable or prosperous business venture at this point. NASCAR needs to give the teams a larger split of the TV revenue, or we may go off and do our own thing outside of NASCAR, which could likely hurt NASCAR's business. My opinion has not changed since yesterday. I still very much believe this is primarily a negotiation tactic, leverage. Like I said yesterday, though, will this help bring NASCAR to the table and get everyone closer together and working towards a common goal? Or will this fracture the relationship between the teams and the sanctioning body even further? Time will tell. Denny Hamlin had something else to say that I thought was interesting. Focusing solely on his NASCAR career, Denny Hamlin is about to enter a contract season. Both his contract with Joe Gibbs Racing and his sponsor's contract, FedEx, expire at the end of 2023. And I know what you all are thinking. Oh boy, Joe Gibbs Racing just went through this with one of their other top drivers. Sponsor didn't sign an extension, driver was in a contract year, and they ended up losing Kyle Busch. Could history unfortunately repeat itself, this time with Denny Hamlin? Well, Bob Pockrass tweeted this today. Denny Hamlin reiterated that he plans to continue racing for JGR. His deal, and FedEx, is up after 2023. Hamlin said he is involved in some reorganization plans for JGR on the competition side. He said his 2311 ownership duties won't impact any eventual decision to retire from driving. So what stands out to me there is the line about Hamlin helping make competition decisions at JGR. That makes it sound like he is very much still integrated into their system and intends to be for the long haul. That quote doesn't say a whole lot about where FedEx is at, if they're planning to re-sign, if they're planning to extend. But it does say a lot about Denny Hamlin and how much more integrated he is into the Joe Gibbs Racing family than I think Kyle Busch was. Even though Kyle Busch had a truck series team that Toyota was helping fund and support. Denny Hamlin has been with JGR since the beginning. We know he was very close with Joe Gibbs' son, JD Gibbs. Hamlin and FedEx have been joined at the hip ever since Hamlin got to the NASCAR Cup Series. That quote from Denny Hamlin makes me more confident that he will stay with JGR beyond this season. Hopefully FedEx sticks around as well. I would be shocked if they went from sponsoring nearly every race every single season to then nothing. But then again, as I talked about a couple weeks ago, I think 2 years ago, they had a change in their head marketing position. A different executive took over. So do they view racing the same way the previous one did? This is what drivers and teams have talked about. They're so uniquely dependent on not just corporate sponsorship, but more so they're dependent on the whims of one marketing executive at a certain company. If they're not feeling racing, a $20 million deal could go up in smoke. These race team sponsor relationships are always so precarious that it's hard to predict long haul who's going to be around, who's going to commit to what. I hope FedEx sticks around with Denny Hamlin. They're one of the, if not the most iconic pairings left in the Cup Series today. And Denny Hamlin, while he is getting older, he's one of the oldest full-time drivers in the Cup Series now, he's still very much competitive. He is still capable of winning a championship. He was in the championship for just a few weeks ago. Hasn't Hamlin been now to 4 straight championship races? He's gonna win one of these things eventually. It's the law of averages says he's due. I want to see Hamlin finish his driving career with JGR and hopefully with FedEx. That quote to me makes me a little more confident that that's going to happen. We won't know for sure until something is actually signed, but the fact that Hamlin is helping them build out their competition department, he's helping make those important decisions. He is so tied into the Joe Gibbs Racing ecosystem at this point, I would be very surprised if he's gone after this year. That's just me. In 6 months, this may be the worst take on the internet. I have no idea, but share your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you make of Hamlin's comments about his future with Joe Gibbs Racing and FedEx, about the Race Team Alliance and those reported exhibition races they're working on, plus everything else we talked about in this video? I look forward to hearing your responses. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming uploads. We've got lots of NASCAR news, also some other kind of fun extracurricular projects that I've been working on coming your way very, very soon. You won't want to miss. Also, big thank you to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate your support. Getting really close to 200,000 subscribers. I think we're only about 1,000 away. My gosh. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you again really, really soon.